So I've always liked the idea of helping people even after death. So realistically, what is to become our physical being other than being buried into the ground after we have passed? Why not actually use that physical being to help someone out by donating your organs? Um, so that's what I'm going to talk to you today about is explain to you why you should become an organ donor. So one of the main reasons is helping someone else. It's one of the most selfless things that you can do for another human being, um, whether you're living or not living anymore. They can still use your organs to help someone else. Funeral costs would diminish or become minimal, and you'd be contributing to the saving of rural areas from the creations of more cemeteries. Um, uh, Henceforth, destroying the natural like habitat and wildlife environment. So I'm going to go into a little more detail about that here in a little bit. So according to American Transplant Foundation, over 114,000 people in the U.S. are currently on the list for a life-saving organ transplant. Organs that can be donated after death are the heart, liver, kidneys, lungs, pancreas, and small intestines. Tissues include corneas, skin, veins, heart valves, tendons, ligaments, and bones. A healthy person can become a living donor by donating a kidney, part of the liver, lung, intestine, blood, or bone marrow. Those are some of the more heard of things a living donor can donate. Um, Funeral cost minimization and the positive environmental aspects are super important. So in the US, most people choose to have funeral arrangements that consist of a burial or a cremation. According to LHLIC.com, the average funeral costs between $7,000 and $12,000 for a funeral home and casket arrangements. That's not including marker, cemetery plot, and flower arrangements or anything else that would be needed. The average cost of a cremation is $6,000 to $7,000. Those are huge numbers, even for just a simple cremation. That's not including cremation urns, which can be quite expensive. Um, of course, depending on what you get, according to DonateLifeTexas.org, depending on which programs you sign up for, you can either sign up for entire body donation or specified organ donation. Some of these programs will use what they need from your physical being, and whatever is remaining, they will cremate for you and send back to your family for a very, very low cost or even for free. So if you can donate your body or your organs to better a person's life or partake in the medical advancement um, or the advancement of medical, research, um, and be able to keep us a part of your loved one close to you, as I know most people do want. Um, so the benefits are great because one, you're helping um, another human being, you're lowering your funeral costs. You still have the person with you in some sense, in some regards, and you'll help the environment as a whole. So let's talk about the process of organ donation. So you can sign up on donatelifetexas.org to donate your entire body to science, or you can sign up to be an organ donor. You can also apply through your local DMV through your driver's license application, which is one of the simpler ways to do it. But even if you do it on the website, it's super quick and easy as well. Um, so when you sign up, you allow for these programs to let medical personnel retrieve your body postmortem in the case of sudden illness or death, to recover your organs for the purpose of transplantation. So let's talk about the organ transplant process. According to NYP.org, these are the steps taken. First, at or near the time of the person's death, they contact the donor organization to determine if you are a eligible candidate for organ donation. Next, they evaluate your medical conditions and determine if your organs are suitable for uh, transplants. And they'll run a series of tests and get all your medical history as well. So they must make sure that it is in good standing. Next, they will get once the person is declared deceased, they obtain the consent from the authorized party or next of kin to use your organs. Then they will find recipients who are awaiting transplants through the waiting list UNOS, the United Network for Organ Sharing, and donors' information is put into the system, and then they are matched with people who are awaiting transplant. If you look on their website, they describe what those waiting lists consist of. They have recipients' information, including their blood type, medical conditions, their urgency for the transplant, what exact time they were entered into the system. They even have people who have been removed due to a change in condition that would disqualify them from receiving the transplant, and people who have unfortunately passed upon waiting for a transplant, which is why I urge you to become an organ donor, because people are waiting and waiting until it's honestly too late. So once they are matched, the transplant surgeon makes the final decision whether they are a good match. Then comes the organ recovery procedure. Medical personnel will arrive and depart the organs. They will transfer the organs to the facility where the recipient will have that transplant done. So although it is a difficult process, there are lots of people who have shared their stories of how organ donation has uh, really healed their hearts and gave another chance at life for some people. So according to lifegift.org, they publish people's stories on donors and recipients alike about how their lives have changed because of organ donation. So let's take Emily's story. Emily is a mother to a 17-year-old Cassie who suddenly passed away after a car accident. Before she had passed, she had signed up to be an organ donor though. And because of that, they were able to save another person's life who really needed that transplant. Her name was Sarah, and she was the recipient of Cassie's heart. Um, and Emily claims that it brought her joy since um, her daughter's passing to listen to her daughter's heart beating within Sarah's body. That Cassie was um, brave enough to be an organ donor and help someone else, which is super important. So please consider becoming an organ donor. You can definitely make a difference in someone's life.